Hi, it's Gretchen again. I'd like to talk to you about how Practice Partners Collective will be using LinkedIn. So I think probably everybody understands the basics of what LinkedIn is. I know a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to use LinkedIn. It's too much of a pain in the behind. I'm going to tell you why LinkedIn is so important. So, if we think about the other platforms, as business platforms, not entertainment platforms, not connecting with friends platforms, not lifestyle platforms, business building platforms. TikTok, yeah, obviously not for business. Twitter used to be very, very effective for business, but now it's such a cesspool with the way that things have been politicized that it doesn't work the way it used to. Blue Sky tried to replace Twitter, but they're not really very effective at that. If you look at Facebook, that's just this morass of ads, and to get traction, oh, I'm going to run a Facebook ad. It's not really a professional platform anyway, and you have to invest a lot of money to get your ads to get traction. So it's just not particularly viable. Instagram is awesome, but unless you're a lifestyle brand, people don't buy from Instagram. And this all comes from research on social media. So, how does LinkedIn fit into this? Well, LinkedIn is the professional platform, the professional social media platform. It has great visibility and is the go-to place for people that want to build their business or get a job. It has 1.3 billion users worldwide. 20% of them are here in the United States. And of course, there are people who would love to connect with educators around the world. Of those 1.3 billion users, 310 million are active every single month, and 134 are active every single day. And 52% are college educated. So this is a really good demographic for people in the collective. And the other thing, in Instagram, I mean, it's a great platform, but if you really, really, really want to get visibility, research says that you have to do 9 posts and 3 reels a day. I mean, who has the time for that unless you're a 22-year-old influencer? Like regular working people doing the work that they care about do not typically have that much time to invest in Instagram. So, how much do you have to post on LinkedIn to really get visibility? Once a week, because so few people actually post on LinkedIn that it's very easy to get connected and to get visibility on LinkedIn. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the foundation of LinkedIn is something called your SSI score. It's called the Social Selling Index. So I know that's kind of an unfortunate name as an educator who's doing the work, but that is the name. And your SSI score has 4 components, and you're ranked like basically 0 to 100. And it tells you exactly what you need to do to raise your score. So ideally, your score is somewhere between 40 and 60. And that affects your ranking on LinkedIn as a whole and LinkedIn for your profession. So, for you, that would be education. For me, this is coaching. So basically, the higher your score, the more the LinkedIn algorithm likes you. So when you post, the higher your SSI score is, the more that your post is shared with others. It shows up in people's feeds. And that's just really, really useful. And in a minute, we're going to talk about how to raise your score, but it just doesn't take that much time. In Instagram, to really build a following, to build that visibility would be extremely time consuming. Not so much on LinkedIn, and it's very clear what the algorithm is. There is no mystery there. So it's like, do the work, raise your score. It really is that simple. The other thing with LinkedIn is that as we work on your profile page for the collective's website, you're going to learn a lot that may influence how you describe yourself, how you sell yourself, or represent yourself on LinkedIn. And I also will be doing LinkedIn training because I've done a lot of that myself. But I'm also looking at, I have a very dear friend who does, her entire business is LinkedIn. So she'll build your profile. She does this thing, the LinkedIn scorecard. She does training. And so I've been talking to her to say, hey, would you consider coming in and doing a workshop and maybe giving people a free discount on a LinkedIn scorecard or a LinkedIn profile makeover? And depending on what your goals are, some of that's useful, some of it may not be. So that's why LinkedIn matters. So how do you raise your LinkedIn score? Right. And there's a strategy behind that increases visibility. So for the collective, what we'll be doing is creating a collective business page. And we're going to be posting on that 2 to 3 times a week, including partner news. So part of my role in this and supporting the collective in its growth is writing those posts, right? But a part of it, if you're like, hey, I have a new book out, I just got a journal article, whatever that is, then that also becomes part of that flow. That becomes in addition to the 2 to 3 times a week. So the way this is structured is the collective posts, and we'll have to have some community conversations about what people are comfortable with, but you put the collective posts and it goes to your individual page. Oh, so proud to be a part of the collective. My friend Jane Smith just published an article. My friend Joe Frank is, going to be speaking at the AERA conference, whatever that is, right? So not only are you supporting the other members of the collective, a part of the way that your SSI score is determined is, do you repost other people's content? So if the collective is posting 2 to 3 times a week that's reposted on your page, then you're automatically reposting 2 to 3 times a week. And the collective is going to, the LinkedIn and your SSI score are going to love that. The other piece of how you raise your LinkedIn score is commenting on things. So the business page is an ideal place both for you as a scholar practitioner to ask a question. Hey, what do you think is the most important thing for newcomer ESL students? What is the most important thing you've learned about data-driven decision making, right? And if everybody is posting and you're posting on other people's posts, that's another way that makes it really, really easy to increase your visibility on LinkedIn. So a lot of this is that I'm providing a done for you foundation rather than you stressing out, oh my gosh, I've got to do my LinkedIn. I didn't even get home until 6 o'clock and I've got to get the kids dinner and help with homework and all the things. I'm 64, my kids are 34 and 38. I don't have any of that in my life right now. So part of that is making sure that's consistently done for you. And then I talked about this in the technology page, but using Buffer for automated posts that are also then archived as evergreen content and they're repeated. And so I just talked more about that in the technology section, but it's also a really great way to build consistent content that the more you do it, the easier it gets because the larger your evergreen content library. So that's a really quick visit to LinkedIn, why this matters, and how we're going to be using that as a part of and actually a core visibility strategy at the collective. So again, consider what becomes possible when you pursue your work in community. You can learn more on the Practice Partners Collective website. The easiest way to get there is actually to go to thescholarscoach.com, and there's a tab called The Collective because it still lives on the back end of my website. I'm happy to schedule a conversation with you. That's also on the website, a link to my Acuity calendar. If you're ready to commit to the collective, there's a place on the website where you can download a prospectus, you can sign a founding member commitment pledge, and of course, invite your colleagues. We're reaching out, Chris and I are reaching out to people we know, and we'd be really honored if you'd reach out to people who you think would be really interested. Again, thank you for stopping by, and please check out the other videos. Rather than doing one gigantic video, we decided to do a bunch of smaller videos that take you through the different moving parts of the collective. Thanks so much.